Hi, this is Patrick Boland with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We're here today. We're here to talk about working with FEMA as well as with the Small Business Administration on your application for disaster assistance. So I have two people with me here, two experts, and I want to introduce them to you. Andrea?
And hello, my name is Andrea DeFreitas, and I am with FEMA's Individuals and Households Programs under the Individual Assistance.
And I'm Lori Dana with the Small Business Administration's Office of Disaster Assistance.
So we're here to talk today about the process of working with FEMA as well as SBA and what you can expect, what you're experiencing, maybe answer some questions for you. The first thing here is to tell you that FEMA came here to provide assistance financially to people who've had either uninsured or had uninsured losses as a result of the flood and the disaster. And we really have to work with people through a process that's established. Can be a little confusing at times, but what I want to encourage you to do is come to this disaster recovery center here in Pikeville. This is really a great place. We've got talented people here that can help you and assist you with your claim. So this is really the place to come to when you need to have questions answered or provide additional documentation, etc. I'm just going to ask a couple of questions of Andrea. So one of the questions that's come up with people is, what about inspectors when inspectors are scheduled to visit somebody's property?
Well, anytime that you're scheduled for an inspection, you will receive a phone call to all phone numbers that are on the case. If you provided your cell phone number to get text messages, they may reach out that way. And then once you do schedule your inspection appointment, then they will come on that day at that time, and they should have their FEMA badge on them.
I was going to ask you that. So how do we know that we're dealing with somebody who's from FEMA and not somebody who's impersonating someone from FEMA?
Because that person will have a FEMA badge on them, and at times they will also have a FEMA vest on. But I wouldn't go off of the vest by itself, so please ask to see their badge.
And how about when people are calling in or they receive a phone call from FEMA? How do they know they're talking to somebody from FEMA?
When you're speaking with someone from FEMA, they should be able to provide you with their FEMA ID number and their first name.
Okay, great. And how about your case number for your application for assistance or registration? Is that important too, to ask them for that?
Yes, always have your 9-digit FEMA registration number with you. Anytime you call, anytime the inspector comes, or if you come up to the Disaster Recovery Center, it will speed up the process of your case.
Okay, that's terrific. Thank you for that. I want to talk to you just a little bit about SBA. Could you just tell us a little bit about SBA, Laurie?
Well, when there's a disaster, the SBA offers homeowners and renters and businesses of all sizes and nonprofits low interest, long-term disaster loans to make repairs to their buildings and to replace property.
Great, thank you for that. So I want to go back to you again. There's a question here about how do I use the funds? I've been awarded funds from FEMA now. My property was destroyed. Can I use those funds for a down payment for a new home, for example?
Yes, you actually can. So if your property was destroyed or even it was damaged and you can get it repaired, you can use those funds to repair it. Or if you're going to purchase a new property, you can use those funds towards that new property.
Thank you for that. And there's also the issues come up about flood insurance for people. In some cases, I know people are required to have flood insurance. Is that correct?
It is correct for special flood zones. So what I encourage you to do is please visit your disaster recovery center or call the FEMA helpline so that you can find out on a case-by-case basis. Some people might be required to maintain the flood insurance and some people may not.
Right, it's case-by-case basis, right? So that's good to know. And that, having flood insurance, if that's the situation, you'd be required to have flood insurance for a certain period of time. Now, FEMA will provide payment for that policy for a number of years initially. Is that correct?
For certain cases, FEMA may be able to provide funding for your flood insurance for the initial 3 years. But again, I do encourage you to please reach out to us at the Disaster Recovery Center or the FEMA helpline to get more information about that.
So it's really important that your case is unique, right? And we can't generalize about this is the same for everybody. It's not, right? And that's why it's so important to come here.
That is very correct.
We really want people to come here to the disaster center and get help. Another question came up, there was damage to bridges. People's bridges and driveways were damaged, and there is FEMA assistance can be applied to losses such as that. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is possible that if you have a damaged private road or private bridge, that FEMA may initially issue out money for you to go and get a contractor's estimate. And the reason for that is because the inspectors may not know how to repair your specific bridge or road. Every bridge and road is treated differently. So the way that your bridge is made may not be the way that your neighbor's bridge is made. So that's why we like to go off the contractor's estimate.
And that's why those funds initially were provided that small amount that kind of people got the wrong idea about it, but really the reality was it was just to get that contractor's estimate in most cases, right? Okay, good. That's terrific. And other things like with housing, when you're replacing housing components like the HVAC system. FEMA funds can be applied to that as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. Actually, with FEMA, when it comes to HVACs, wells, septics, private roads, and private bridges, we generally would give money for a contractor's estimate. So if you get FEMA funds, please contact our helpline or disaster recovery center so you can find out exactly what those funds are for.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Well, that's great. You really covered these questions for us, and I hope people get some benefit out of this and understanding. The key thing is, again, to either call our 800 number, that's 800-621-3362, 800-621-3362, or you could go online to disasterassistance.gov, but now that we're here, come to the Disaster Recovery Center. That's really a cornerstone of managing this properly. Now, I wanted to go to you, Laurie, to talk more about SBA and how SBA and FEMA work together.
Well, if you are referred to the SBA by FEMA, we really encourage you to complete that disaster loan application. It's part of the whole process to make sure that you get all the assistance that you're eligible to receive. You don't have to accept a disaster loan if you're approved. You have time to make up your mind whether a disaster loan is needed. If we cannot offer you a disaster loan, we will refer you back to FEMA for any other assistance that might be available, but you have to complete that disaster loan application to be eligible for.
And that's really important,
yes,
isn't it?
Is completing that disaster loan.
It is optional to complete the SBA loan application, but by doing so and submitting for it, even if you're not eligible for it and you're denied it, it enables you to go back to FEMA for possibly for additional assistance, depending upon your situation again. But that's really important. So complete that loan application. Is that the best advice you give people?
Yes, and you want to keep all your options open. And homeowners can borrow up to $200,000 to make repairs to their primary residence.
Is that right?
Yeah, up to $200,000. And on top of that, they can borrow an additional 20% for mitigation, to build back stronger, whether it's a retaining wall, any other mitigation things. Everything on that is also a case-by-case basis. Homeowners and renters can borrow up to $40,000 to replace the contents of their homes, and that includes automobiles.
So renters are eligible for SBA loan assistance as well, too. Okay, that's really good to know.
And businesses can make repairs to their buildings, replace assets, inventory. And small businesses, if they suffered financial losses because of the flooding, can apply for working capital disaster loans, even if they didn't have any damage. But if they suffered financial losses, they can apply for economic injury disaster loans.
Well, that's great. Thank you for that. I think that's really complete. I think the key thing here is that, FEMA and SBA have come here to assist everybody. Like I said initially, we really want to see people recover and get back up on their feet. And then, with SBA assistance, you have more opportunity to rebuild your home than maybe a new home, whatever it is you want to do. But we're here to help. So please come down and see us here at the Disaster Recovery Center. Anybody else have anything else I'd like to say?
Yes, you can come down to the Disaster Recovery Center to get SBA assistance. You can also go to Business Recovery Center. And in Pike County, there is a Business Recovery Center at the Elkhorn Library and the library in Virgie. And you can also call 1-800-659-2955 and have an application mailed to you. You can apply online at sba.gov, but we really encourage that you come down to the Business Recovery Center or a Disaster Recovery Center and talk to somebody, find out what your options are, and get assistance with FEMA and SBA.
Right. We want to see you. That's the bottom line. And we're here at 112 Dorton Hill Road in Pikeville. That's 112 Dorton Hill Road. In case anybody doesn't know, we're operating out of this area, and we're going to be here for as long as it takes to help everybody. So thank you both very much for participating today.